So in light of the pandemic and all of the impacts that it's had on every single business, we thought it would be important to maybe share something more relevant to the tourism world, which we all know, even in the Niagara region, has probably been impacted the most by the pandemic and of course COVID-19. In our ongoing series to offer some good news and maybe some advice to maybe some things that people can do or some options, I'm joined today with Bryan Rakoff. Well, Bryan is the Business Development Manager here at Safari Niagara. And if you're not familiar with Safari Niagara, they're a great location in Stevensville, Ontario. But before you go any further, Bryan, just tell us a bit more about the background of Safari Niagara and a bit more about the history.
Yeah, early 90s, they actually started as a little small petting zoo in the Stevensville Garden Gallery.
Right.
And it was very, very small, and then it slowly grew into some of the bigger animals in the property back here. Early 2000s, it's grown and grown to what we know as Safari Niagara. Previously known as zoos, of course, but
Right.
now Safari Niagara with just a great collection of animals and attractions and a whole lot to do.
So you and I were doing some planning. Remember in the winter time and it was quiet here and we were doing some great planning for a season. And then as with all of us, March hit. And for the last 6 months, there's been a lot of reactionary results to business, people setting new visions, new direction was something that we've done. But more importantly, Bryan, how would you say the pandemic or COVID-19 or the uncertainty has impacted Safari Niagara?
Well, you know what, even before the pandemic, we were up against school trips and the situation with the schools. So we were kind of thinking, okay, now what and what can we do?
Right.
Then the pandemic hit in March, and again, it was that same mentality, but it was never defeated. It was more, what can we do, or
Right.
what next, and how can we work with that?
Right.
We've put in all the guidelines all the way through. I think we've gone through 3 phases
Right.
of different guidelines. We opened up as a drive-through, and then through phase 1, phase 2 was through a walk-through that looked a little bit different, and of course phase 3. So a lot of signage, a lot of making people feel comfortable. We have a huge advantage of being in an outdoor facility.
Right.
150 plus acres
That's right. Yeah.
of people we have timed entry, which makes people feel comfortable. And that was the huge thing, is to make people feel comfortable and still enjoy their time.
Wow.
Yeah.
So obviously too, with the trams and moving people around, we've kept that distancing. We've got a lot of hand sanitizing stations involved. So you've actually had not a great summer, but we've seen some crowds here, which I think is an option for both families and of course business and corporate is something we're very much focused on. What do you see for 2021, Bryan? Like, what do you see moving forward?
I think, with next year, of course, we're entering we're entering our area where we're going to be closed in a couple weeks.
Right.
With some planned walkthroughs in the winter. Again, that just kind of innovative forward thinking of working with the situation that we have. And 2021 is much the same, just dealing with our situation and how we can work with it. If it's the number of people in a group together, we're going to make sure that happens all through the guidelines and make things comfortable here.
What are some of the things that you've done with the team here, Bryan, to kind of keep focused on the guest experience and obviously working through the pandemic?
Well, with our team, there's a high level of communication here. I deal with a great food and beverage team and our operations team at the park, which is, there's a lot of things that go into place when you're dealing with groups of people coming in. And the communication level is huge here, and we've got a great team that is really effective.
Obviously, people are inside and heading into the fall. A lot of people are doing more inside things. What would your advice be to a family or even a business looking to do something to re-engage their team? What would your advice be to them?
Just kind of think outside the box and look at different options. I mean, I think we're past we spent a good number of years doing kind of the same things which is a comfort level, which is great. And we're kind of a hidden gem here in Stevensville, where you know you really have to experience it and come through, and people, their eyes, we've got a huge corporate area with plenty of spacing, capabilities with food packages, and yeah, I mean, it's you gotta be here to experience it.
And of course, speaking of comfort, we're like right here next to the Tiger, so talking about a little bit of uncomfort right now, but I want to thank Bryan, obviously taking time out of your busy schedule. The fall weather is really beautiful right now, so we're starting to see some more people coming for an option of something to do. So on behalf of myself, I just want to thank you for your time to do this.
Oh, and thanks for coming. Excellent. My pleasure to be part of it.
Thanks, Bryan.